Today we're off to the Primrose Hill job, a nice bright and early trip just for a couple of hours, and we're going to be going through some furniture for selling, so hopefully I shall take some good footage of that for you. If I can't get that today, I'll get that next week. Other than that, we're back off to the Chelsea house. Just a few things to sort out there. There is a mattress coming in. The client has ordered this, and this does happen every so often. They order things and then they just rock up when you least expect them, so I only found out about it last night. So we see how that gets on. It's quite balmy here in London, the birds are out. I think the sun has about just come up. All doing well. Welcome on board to the Primrose Hill job, part 2. In around about sort of 2010, I moved a lovely couple into this property here in Regent's Park. They're now moving out to have this place refurbished. I'm in charge of the move. Part 1 of that has been the Primrose Hill job that you've seen previously. I'll put a link up here or here, wherever it is, so you can find it, so you can see me measuring up that particular property. I'm now actually moving all of the rest of the furniture out from this property, either into storage or it's going to be sold. There are a few other things which are going over to their family member's place, which I'll come on to later. But at the moment, it's now time to clear this property of the rugs, the furniture, the artwork, and all the other little bits and bobs that need to go from this property before refurbishment starts in a few weeks' time. This property is on 2 levels. We have the ground floor that we're at the moment, and then downstairs we have the other part of the ground floor. It's effectively a 4-bedroom property, which is beautifully done, and it was actually put together by a former interior designer. They knocked down all the walls. All the other different things, such as the colours, bits and bobs of the furniture that came along with the couple, wallpapers, fabrics, all those types of things we've added in the last few years that myself and the client have worked on together. I'm now going to take you for a quick walk around so you see what's to be done. Coming into the hallway, we have a mirror here. That's by Graham and Green. I'm going to actually be selling that soon. It's actually still on their website, so you can actually get that. There's some artwork here. There's a few items that need to be sold. Those obviously belong to the children. Moving on into the living area. So we have some of the things that have been here before. There was an alcove here that you can see, and you can see the sort of the outline that was there previously. Actually on that top was an item of sculpture. Now the clients didn't actually want sculpture to go up there, but they wanted to utilize that space. So what we did, we actually added some hanging pendants. These here are by Anthony Stern. I'll see if I can put a link up so you can catch his work later on. And he basically is a glass artist. He's been going for years, very well known in the industry. So those things are going to be coming down. They will also be sold at the moment, or that's the plan for them. The other items we have here are some side tables. These are by the Villiers brothers, and these things will be going. There's actually 3 of them. There are 2 side consoles and 1 larger console, which at the moment is in storage. Over here we have a fireplace. This is also to be sold, and also a camelback sofa. You can see that, the camelback. That's why it's called a camelback sofa. That's also to be sold as well. We also have a couple of rugs which I've rolled up here, and those items are going to be sent off for cleaning, and then they will go into storage until this place is refurbished. Window seats are quite an interesting thing. Not everybody has the opportunity to use window seats. So often they will just come looking like this does here, and you can see that they do have obviously windows that need to open. But it's a shame not to utilise this part. So what I'm actually planning to do is to actually get them some new window seat pads. The old ones are actually over here. And you can see those here. I've just piled a couple of them up. This is a William Morris fabric. It's fruit minor to be precise. I'll put a link up so you can catch that as well. And then we have a couple of other items that also need to be dealt with. And these ones here, that is the Palmer table from Andrew Martin, and that's also, I'm not quite sure where that came from, but that's another upholstered bench which will also need to be upholstered in due course. You have to understand that sometimes furniture comes with clients, so you won't always be buying new items for them, which is actually a real godsend, to be perfectly honest, because actually you can see what taste they have, what they like. This lady loves her upholstery and likes to use bright fabrics, good fabrics, and she has a really good eye for what she likes and what she doesn't like. So this was a very easy thing, it's a very useful item to be incorporated into the home. Also here are some Louise Bradley mirrors. Now Louise Bradley is an interior designer, and she actually has a shop in Fulham near where the Chelsea job is taking place at the moment. But there are two mirrors here that you can kind of actually see behind me. There's two of them, they come as a pair, they're quite ornate, as you can possibly see, but they're really quite interesting as far as the workmanship that has gone into them. They certainly have a sort of a ready tone to them. So I'm hoping very much to sell those as a pair at some point. They are quite expensive, so I'm hoping to get a good price for the client for them. Otherwise, I think we'll keep them in storage until they come back into fashion or she wants to use them again. Moving through into the kitchen, there's not too much here which we're going to do. This kitchen was actually already here, so we haven't actually done anything new to it, except perhaps we did actually change the blinds, and you can see these blinds here. These are roller blinds, and these were specially printed, and these were printed by a company called Surface View. I've actually done a blog post with that. I'll see if I can put a link up to it. It's actually on my website. If you go to my website, I did a whole blog post on wall coverings, and I covered Surface View there. But they do custom printing to whatever size you want. Well worth having a look at their site, because they've just got so much choice. This place has actually got quite a bit of storage in it, and actually what we do have, which you may or may not be able to see here, are all the paints and papers. All of those along, it's a complete variety of different ones. We've got little green Farrow ball, and obviously all the different rolls of paper here that we've used within the property. I'll be keeping a lot of those just in case they need those, and actually it's funnily enough, for wallpaper, if you've got sort of leftover bits, I would obviously keep those. Some people think there's no point in keeping them, but actually I think it's a very good idea to keep them. And actually you can use them as drawer liners. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I've actually made some quite interesting drawer liners and actually drawer fronts with wallpaper so that everything is coherent within the room that you're using the wallpaper in. The dining area is a really interesting one in this particular property. We have quite a large expanse of room basically running all the way along here, and we couldn't find, back in the day, 2010, we couldn't find a dining table that actually befits this space. So I actually designed and had one made.
And this was the result. So it's 3 metre long, and it has matching benches, as you can see here. The metalwork underneath is steel in a turquoise colour. And of course we just had to add in benches and chairs where we needed them to go, but well worth designing something new.
As far as lighting for this table, we went through various different situations with this, and we looked at various different options that we could have. In the end we went for some Italian lighting, and this is Murano glass. They're lanterns, they're very very pretty, and the client wants to hang onto them, so we will be hanging onto those, and they will be being put up somewhere at some point. Behind those you can see actually a mural, and this mural is again It sits on the wall. It actually comes again from surface view. We had it made to measure, and it sits very cleanly and nicely on the wall. It won't be coming in the new property, as it were, so it's a great shame that it's going, but it certainly gives a very good impression of bringing the outside in.
This is a jute rug which has water damage. You can see how the tape here is sort of out of kilter, and you can see where the stain just around here where the water has dropped. So this needs to be re-stretched at some point. Now down here we have some built-in joinery, and you can see here that's the air conditioning duct up the top there, and this is a workspace. We just pull the rug back here and you can see we added in some nice handles here, some Art Deco handles there to go for the drawers, and also above we added in some Art Deco knobs here for the cupboards. So these will be coming off and we're taking these with us, but otherwise it's a lovely piece of joinery with some walnut tops here, which have all been beautifully mitered together.
Into one of the children's rooms, you see here behind me, this is a wallpaper that we put in for the little girl, for the daughter of the house. She's actually now moved into another room, and the son moved in here. It's actually a really good wallpaper by Osborne on Little, and because it is the colours that it is, it can actually work just as well for a boy and a girl, which is why we didn't change it when the two children swapped their rooms over.
This is one of the ornate bathrooms with Bizazza tiles here, and this bathroom is one of the guest bathrooms and fits quite neatly underneath the stairs coming down from the upper floors. So this will all be going in the rebuild.
I'm now standing here in the master bedroom, and this is a Philip Jeffries grass wallpaper that we put on to add a little bit of colour into this room. It's worn extremely well. I would say to anybody who is actually thinking about putting grass paper on the wall, it may cost a little bit more, but actually not that much more. So I would totally recommend putting this into a whole variety of different rooms. It's actually a very, very good texture. As I said, it's lasted very well. And it's actually even very good for rental properties. I think I might be using this for one of my next projects. Many people don't put in baths into many properties, especially in smaller properties in London. This is probably because we're actually short of space, and many people don't even use a bath these days. But if you are wanting to make a statement, there can be nothing better sometimes than making a feature in a bathroom of your choice. This one behind me is these tiles behind me here are Bizazza. They're very interesting little mosaic tiles, and they actually give this bathroom a little bit of something that it wouldn't have had otherwise.
And in the other children's bedroom we have some embroidered pears fabric, which is very sweet. And this is Blue Ground from Farrow and Ball. This was for the other children's bedroom, and we've put some wallpaper on the bottom with a border, which many people don't do these days. This is a window which needed something on it, so I actually put something on from surface view, and from the other side it looks like this.
So I have my work cut out for me here on part 2 of the Primrose Hill job. This means I need to sell an awful lot of furniture in the next couple of weeks just to get some other money coming in for them and to get this place cleared, because that is their priority before the workmen move in. They need a clean and clear space, and we can't have anything hanging around. So just finished for a Friday afternoon from the Chelsea house. Things progressing, the cleaners have come in. I've never seen that sink look as clean as it has done in quite some time. So things are progressing quite well. The light switches are on, not all of them, because there has been a mix-up at the factory. There's a whole discussion I can tell you about that. That's what happens really when someone at one end of a company does not understand what an electrician wants or needs for the system that's being put in place. But I can talk more about this later when I find out what's going on. Painting is progressing at the house, so they are doing the stairway spindles at the moment and the banister. I would have shown you, but it was just too busy. Lots of people going up and down the stairs as well as painting. Other than that, the plumbing work is continuing. There's a few more bits that need to be dealt with there, which will continue over the weekend and into Monday. The family are not due to move in until Monday evening, and even then not in its entirety, which is great. They're doing the right thing by moving in gradually. Half the time people tend to try and do things all in one day. It doesn't work like that, and it certainly doesn't help them at all. I'm keeping a very close eye on the carpets at the moment. They obviously are prone to pick up dust, especially at this stage of the proceedings. So extra footwear is needed, shoes off, etc. The weekend is almost upon us, but I still have lots of things to do, so I think what will actually end up happening is a lot of the furniture that I need to do for the Primrose Hill job, most of that will be put online today, and that will need to be sold in the next couple of weeks. So the sooner I get that on, the sooner things can progress. I sorted out a lot of my emails yesterday, as I said, so I'm feeling a little bit better about that. But I need to get back to the Reading job and a few others that have come in. Lots of other different projects in the offing, so I need to consolidate my time very much better than I have been. I do feel as if I've been sort of running from one project to another a lot. This can happen. Sometimes you can plan it as much as you can plan it, but it doesn't happen the way that you want it to. You would think you would end a project quite nicely and then move on to the next. This project at the Chelsea house is not yet done. There are still things to do, even though when the couple have moved in. Certainly there is a whole section on snagging that needs to be done. The curtains also need to be done, and there'll be other things that they will want as add-ons. I also need to add some extra handles to the list, as we need a few more handles for the kitchen. Lots to do. So for now, my fellow vloggers, I will see you after the weekend. Have a good weekend.